People, deluded, I'm back again. Now, I'm recording this in the evening, people, but good morning to those of you in the United Kingdom. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night, depending on where you're from, people. The news isn't stopping, and where Arsenal's concerned, it's starting to ramp up. Allegedly, Arsenal have made contact with Mr. Bentley, who is a goalkeeper for Wolves, as we look to reshape our team, potentially to cope with Aaron Ramsdale's departure in the number 2 goalkeeping position. But obviously, where a third slot is concerned, we could do with another goalie. Again, we're still forever linked with the same old names. It seems like Calafori's deal is slowly but surely progressing, and this week could be crucial in that regards for him. Simultaneously, Kiwior, apologies, is being linked with a move away from the football club, with allegedly Juventus and Inter Milan primarily looking at him, as well as Napoli. Now, if you give me a second, I'll share my screen with you lot and we'll crack straight on with it, people. 1 second, as I said, well, literally 1 second, but you get the point, people. Now, David Ornstein, at the time of making this video, made an article 4 hours ago in which he said, Arsenal contact Wolves over goalkeeper Dan Bentley transfer interest. Arsenal have contacted Wolverhampton Wanderers to express an interest in signing goalkeeper Dan Bentley. You know what the funniest thing, and life comes at you full circle. He's best known for him, playing at Brentford, obviously being at Wolves, Southend. He came through their youth system. He actually was a goalkeeper at Arsenal Football Club many years ago. Now, the 30-year-old apparently moved to the Molineux from Bristol City in January of 2023, so he's been there just over a year and has been identified by the football club as a potential backup option. Apparently, Wolves are not interested in selling the Englishman unless they were to receive a suitable offer that allows them to reinvest. Now, you have heard Wolves are struggling financially and they might have to sell some players to bring finances in. Respectfully to Bentley, I mean, if you need money, every penny counts, but I can't imagine they're going to seek, a substantial transfer fee for him, really and truly. And I guess he ticks the right boxes. 30 years of age. He's not a spring chicken, but he's kind of young in terms of goalkeeping. He's obviously got a bit of experience, been at the clubs I've said, obviously been in the lower leagues, and he technically is a Premier League goalkeeper. So there's a lot he could provide us in and around the footballing ground. And I'm sure he's from London, so he's local, really and truly, or from Essex. So it could mean, being closer to your family. Obviously, the homegrown stuff helps as well. David Raya, as we know, is our number 1. We technically do have Aaron Ramsdale in the squad, but in recent months, Aaron Ramsdale's best exploits have probably been celebrating with Bukayo Saka recently at the weekend. Big him up. Karl-Heinz signed a new deal and is part of the squad, but you'd imagine for him, he's probably pushing to go out on loan. Apparently, Bentley is a highly valued member of Gary O'Neill's squad, and despite recording only 5 Premier League appearances, has made a strong impression on and off the pitch. Now, obviously, off the pitch could help because as a third choice goalie, realistically, no one doesn't want to play, but you still have to perform like you're going to get an opportunity. Push David Raya and Ramsdale and whoever is involved, and obviously sometimes be a positive influence. Obviously, it goes without stating, but as a goalie, there might be times where David Raya doesn't think he's having the best of sessions, or he's doubting himself if form's there, and you kind of help him up in that regards, people. Apparently, his top flight debut ironically came against Arsenal as a substitute in a 2-1 win for the North London side in December of 2023. He started his career, as it says here, at Southend and spent 3 years at Brentford before moving to Bristol City, where he made 143 appearances. So I'm all for that where a backup goalie is concerned. As we know, Arsenal are looking at wide men or attackers. We've been linked with a young man who's playing for Wolves, Watford at the moment. I can't say his name, but is it Yassuo Esa? I cannot pronounce that, but he's a Colombian international. I think he's been capped 6 times by them. Obviously, he comes from a famous footballing family. And I'm sure Watford fans know a bit more than me, but from, the little bits I've seen of him, I think he's got a decent left foot. I'm sure against like Rotherham or Norwich or one of them clubs, when you just watch the Championship highlights, I'm sure he scored 2 absolute crackers against them. He's got a decent left foot, decent vision, can play on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. Like Saka loves to cut in on his left foot, 20 years of age, and he's very impressionable. Now, some articles say he's contracted until 2026. Some say until 2027. I believe he got Watford's Young Player of the Year. So could this just be engineering interest from Arsenal to get him a new deal? He has been linked with Everton. So is Arsenal's potential interest being overstated? because we all know the media likes to play games, and it's easy to link Arsenal with, a 20-year-old footballer, and obviously in a position I'm sure the club would like to improve on. Now, we've been linked with him. Apparently it's 15 odd million quid, which isn't groundbreaking. His agent apparently has said no club has contacted from Leicester. There is interest from other Premier League clubs and other European countries. Arsenal have never asked me a question. There are things that the media is putting out. We are looking because the market has just open, and we're going to see what is best for the boy. A good project where he can continue to have continuity, and now it has to be focused on whether he'll be called up to the national team or not. But he has a contract, and we will continue to see what's best for him. So again, seems like interest with Arsenal, and I'm actually going to do a video on him just for the fun of it, but it seems like alleged interest from Arsenal is probably wide of the mark. Doesn't mean they're not scouting him. Fabrizio Romano has spoken about Jakub Kiwior and said he could leave Arsenal in case of a good proposal, with Calafiori close to joining. He understands there's a possibility for a loan, but only with a mandatory buy clause. Italian clubs are keeping a close eye to the situation. No formal proposals yet. I wonder why, beyond the obvious, why Arsenal would want a mandatory buy clause, because he is young. Some could say, with an opportunity to play consistently at centre half, he could go out on loan and maybe come back at Arsenal. But at the end of the day, you're getting in Calafiori, you've got Timber, you've got Tomiyasu, you've got Saliba, Gabriel, you've got a bunch of defenders. You still have Zinchenko, who's got 2 years left on his deal. Maybe Arsenal say, do you know what, Kiwior isn't one we're necessarily forcing out, but he hasn't really pulled up any trees at the club. Calafiori coming in means it's even more congested for him. He could be somebody that brings a decent fee into the club. And realistically, since he joined us from Spezia, he's been linked with Italian clubs, Napoli, Inter Milan, Juventus. All of these links will not go away. So we'll have to see in that regards, people. Maybe it's not only a replacement indirectly for Kiwior, but also, an upgrade on Kiwior. Someone that can do Kirior's remit, but or Kirill's stature in the squad, or what he does is as a player for Mikel Arteta, but to a better standard. And where you look at Calafiori, obviously he can invert, he can do all those things. Jakub Kiwior could leave, as what we just said there, so we're not going to read the same thing. Apologies, folks. Allegedly, Inter Milan have inquired about Kiwior. Juventus are also interested, but he's not their priority at the moment, while Napoli need departures in that position before pursuing a move. Arsenal value Kiwior at least 20 million euros, however, could be open to a loan with an obligation. So, Inter Milan have inquired. Don't know if they've been given positive feedback. Juventus is not a priority, so their priorities are elsewhere. Napoli are probably focused on departures, and it says they need someone to leave. So if they want one to go before they bring one in, do they really think Kiwior respectfully is worth pushing the boat out? I'm not sure, but I'm sure he's held in high regards in the Italian division because of his exploits at Spezia. And for him, he deserves to go somewhere he can play football. On Calafiori, Arsenal and Bologna almost have an understanding on a fee of around 50 million euros. Now they need to clarify the structure of the deal, how much is fixed / add-ons, the payment terms entering into the new week. Both clubs hope to get the deal done, and I'm sure we do as well. Other Italian journalists have said Arsenal and Bologna will return for talks tomorrow to finalize everything for the transfer of Riccardo Calafiori, with the aim to slightly reduce the final figure between the fixed fee and bonuses. Arsenal want to close the deal over the next week, folks. Arsenal and Bologna are due to resume talks tomorrow, as said, so everybody's kind of saying the same things. Apparently, Arsenal are planning to hold new contract talks with Bukayo Saka. Didn't he just sign one? But I mean, since he signed it, he's got even better. And what a performance he had at the weekend recently. If he's going to get a new deal, then you'd imagine if rumors are true, then Saliba's got to be in line as well for a new deal, essentially. We know Manchester City are long-term admirers of his people. Apparently Real Madrid, PSG and Bayern Munich are all looking at him. Arsenal value him at least 200 million euros, people. So again, it's nice to have, in previous years, before Mikel Arteta, if I'm honest, and Edu, when we got into this sort of weird scenario as a football club, there would be a time where Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, Saliba, Gabriel, all of these players would be getting interest from other clubs, and their contracts would mean you don't sleep as easy. I mean, every player's got a price. I'm not naive enough to think even someone as Saka, who's come through Hayland and whatnot, is going to spend his whole career here, even though I hope he does. But we're in a much better position to negotiate a high fee if this was the case. We know selling Saka would have to take 200 million odd quid at this moment in time, because we'll have to find a replacement of his standard or better, which is tough to find, people. And for me, I see it as a compliment. Why would you not want to be interested in Saliba or Saka or etc.? It's like, really and truly, it's like if you're a man or a girl out there, and you've got a boyfriend or a girlfriend, obviously you're not looking for competition or whatever, but it would be nice to know that everybody can see what you see, and that Bukayo Saka's a great player. If nobody wanted to sign him, there'd be issues there. So I think we can sleep easy with that one, Arsenal fans. Nuno Tavares, who again probably should be the first one out the door, really. On his future, he said, yes, obviously, I have in mind to return to Arsenal and have a good pre-season. I'll always do my best, as I've done in all pre-seasons, to have a place at the club. I always try to work in the best way. Then it's up to the club to decide whether I'm a valid option or not. But I have a strong mentality. I know what I'm capable of. Sometimes things don't depend on us, but my job is to focus on myself, and I'll do what I do best. I know my value, and I don't let anything affect me. I trust my work. He has previously said that the club have told him your future lies elsewhere, people. And again, if Kiwior goes, I don't think Kiwior's with, unfortunately, Tierney and Tavares and Lokonga, but I think Kiwior is one that is available for the right price. But if you get, if there's progress with Kiwior departing, potentially Lokonga to Sevilla, Nuno Tavares moves on and Tini moves on, then evidently we're getting some money in. Not quite sure what this article is, people. I think it's just leveraging the same interest that we've gone over with in Kiwior. Big up George Bird, people. Apparently, he said Kyon Edwards is a target by Premier League and foreign clubs ahead of a permanent move. Now, for young Kyon, obviously there's a bunch of striking options in the first team ahead of him. There's rumours of bringing another striker / attackers. He's 20 years of age. He had a loan spell at Leyton Orient. So, yeah, it probably makes sense to depart, really. It doesn't look like there's an evident pathway on that, people. I mean, it's going to get very interesting where Chido, Obi Martin is concerned as well, and the race to keep him and avoid him going from Bayern Munich to Dortmund. It seems like that potentially could be in the balance. So big up Edwards, but it probably makes sense to leave, really and truly. Doué's been linked with us before. Apparently, Bayern Munich are one of the clubs monitoring him, as are PSG and Spurs. Romano has previously said Arsenal are interested, but we haven't been name dropped on this occasion. We have been linked with Conde of Barcelona. Apparently, we're not considering that. I think we all knew that was garbage. We've gone over the young Yazir Asperilla people, and apparently Arsenal are keen on potentially signing him. Once again, a 15 million euros price tag is on his head. Moving away from that, Ferdi Kalagoglu links won't go away. He can play left back as well as right back. Some would say we seem like we're stocked with a lot of options who can play left back. What do we really have at right back beyond Benjamin White? Now, we know we've got Tommy Yassuo and Timber, but some would say that, people, and he's done well at Fenerbahce. He's done well in Euros. I don't know if Arsenal were genuinely ever interested in him, but maybe if the Calafiori thing didn't happen, just like with Joel Hatto, maybe potentially. But this article says Arsenal arrival in Newcastle and Borussia Dortmund as well as Napoli for the Euro 2024 breakout star, people. So I'm not too sure on that. Apparently, he's valued at 25 to 30 million euros, which equates to 21 to 25 million pounds. So we'll have to see what's going on there. Cozier Duberry, as we know, has announced his departure from Arsenal, and he signed for Brighton on a new 4-year contract. So we wish him all the best. Everything I've discussed, people, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on your notification bells because vids are always coming out. Peace.